Okay, so that's number one. Is first, before I ever do any deal or pick up the phone, I know everything, and literally you can find everything on the internet. Everything, from the first principle all the way to the finished good. Make sense?
Yeah. So I don't want to interrupt and cause more time, but when we're translating this to something like hay or syrup or anything like that, would we be taking the cost from where it's already been produced, like from the farmer, and like what they usually charge or what they usually get for their product? Or are we diving deeper beyond that and it's costing to produce it?
So deeper beyond that, okay? So the most powerful tool in the American, I'd say honestly worldwide, but the most powerful tool that exists is the first blockchain ever created, okay? It's literally called the Code of Federal Regulations. Everything on there. Let's say that you don't have a contract with somebody and you end up in court with a customer that didn't pay. The lawyer goes back to the code, or the judge goes back to the Code of Federal Regulations. It's the very first blockchain known to man. And literally what the blockchain says is there's never more than two parties in a deal, ever. There's the person who owns the company and the person that picks up the product, meaning the trucker. So own the company, trucker, right? In the entire blockchain from the time it comes out of the ground. So let's say you're on site at a mine, a mineral, or a farm. If the farmer's hired a guy to pick the fruit, guess who owns the product until it changes hands? The guy that picked the fruit. So farmer grew the seed, he put the implements on, all those were one-to-one transactions, okay? There's no such thing as a multi-party transaction. It doesn't exist, okay? So what happens is whoever picked it off the tree, he might go put it into a box and somebody else might come pick up that box, okay? But literally in the Code of Federal Regulations, it says person in hand with the product is the person in control. So if the farmer on credit, so just so you know, American credit is actually a bump against, it's called a contract against a contract. So if the truck gave the farmer credit, let's say 30 days credit, if he goes and he delivers that good, as soon as it's in his hand, as soon as he delivers that good and that credit starts, he's actually gone against the Code of Federal Regulations, which is okay. So the contract in hand is the contract, as long as it's signed by both parties, is the contract that supersedes everything else. Make sense? So trucker delivers to the guy any part, any piece, okay? The trucker literally can say, he can get there and he can notice something going on in the parking lot and he can say, hey, I'm sorry, I feel weird about this one. I'm not gonna unload until you pay me. And he has every right to do that. Make sense?
Yeah.
So person
because he holds the contract.
Even if they had a contract beforehand on a rate con, like he can hold the product until he gets paid, but it can't be different than the price that he quoted the customer unless there's a reason that was already in the contract as to why it's different. So like, for example, in containers, I show up with a container on a truck. I get there and the person tells me, oh yeah, it's behind here in this field 2 miles. Can you follow me down the road? It's against contract. So I had terms called $95 an hour off pavement. That's what it cost. And so literally the drivers would pull it out of their little notebook. They'd have them sign again and then they'd follow them off payment. On there, it had a little clause. If I get stuck, you're paying for the tow charges. Make sense? And so that's just how you protect the contract in the process of flow. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So